right. Welcome, everybody, to another week of Power 10 Sports Talk. This week, it is your host, Andrew Gibb. Joining me this week is our girl from the DMV, Aaron Polsey. Representing Generation Z, Brady Gibb. And our special guest returning after having so much fun last week, Aaron Callentine. And we'll start off this week with some of the breaking news that we saw. First of all, Jim Harbaugh got extended for 5 years, which means that Ohio State gets to win for 5 years.
And Ohio State liking the post.
Yeah, Ohio State's Twitter goes and likes the post.
Oh, you have to like that post.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You can't not like it. I'm pumped. I'm excited.
Yeah.
They basically just rolled over for another 5 more years.
And I've been informed by my stepdad that is a Michigan fan that they care more about beating Michigan State than they do Ohio State. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
Because it's the more attainable one.
No, apparently
they haven't even hit that level yet.
That's like the bigger rivalry. So, and I was like, yeah, but you still have to beat Ohio State if you want to reach any other goal you have set. So
it's not the bigger rivalry, though. I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't believe it's the bigger rivalry. I've had a couple friends that went there. Like, yeah, I met them and they were more, I don't know.
I never
Granted, I get the
that.
in-state rivalry is a thing.
Yeah. I mean, Ohio State doesn't have one, but that being said, every other school is much smaller, so.
Listen, yeah. I'd love an Ohio State-Cincinnati rivalry.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Let's get that going.
Probably be better than, like, some of the games Ohio State already plays, so.
Probably.
And it would make Cincy look more competitive, so I'm all for it. Other news we saw this week was Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco being traded to the Mets. Every Indians fan definitely cried about that because we now officially suck.
I'm going to go burn my Francisco Lindor jersey now.
No, you roll with the Indians until you die. You don't get a choice.
I have a Ramirez jersey.
He didn't choose to leave. It's not like he signed in free agency.
I think
they traded him.
No, he wanted to stay in Cleveland, and Dolan was like, no, you're going to
You don't have the money.
Because I don't want to pay you.
Yeah, they were like they did the exact same thing to Frankie that Mookie Betts and the Red Sox went through last year. They couldn't afford to keep him next year, and they knew that they would lose him in free agency. So they decided instead of losing everything, they figured why not get a young kid. But
yeah. Also, the Mets are apparently pursuing Chris Bryant. So maybe the Mets are turning around as an organization. You have DeGrom and Carrasco in your rotation. You get to have Lindor, possibly having Chris Bryant and another player.
Ambiance lighting, Aaron. That looks nice.
I had to look too dark, and no, it kind of looks darker, though.
Yeah. So the Mets may be turning around and might be good. They are also getting 5 or 6 Sunday night baseball games, which initially really pissed me off because I was like, they're a garbage organization. Why do they get more primetime games than the Indians?
I would rather them get the primetime games than the Yankees. Like
the Yankees, I think, have I think a lot of the Mets games are matchups against the Yankees. Like, I know they're supposed to play on 9/11, and I don't know which day of the week that is this year, but that could be one of them.
Let me pull up a calendar real quick.
I'm doing that right now as well. It'd be a Saturday game.
Yeah.
But yeah, regardless.
You're 1 out of 7. You're close.
Yeah, that's still a really big game that they'll definitely have nationally televised. So maybe this is the turnaround for the Mets actually being able to compete against the Yankees.
I saw a thing that they're also trying to get Trevor Bauer, which if they do, I feel like I have to root for the Mets at that point.
There's enough Indians players that we've loved on the Mets now.
Yeah.
I did see a stat yesterday, and it was the Indians 2016 World Series lineup. We still have 2 players that were on that team, and it was.
I thought it was 3.
Ramirez and
Naquin's still on our team.
Yongo.
Tyler Naquin.
Or Naquin's gone, isn't he?
No, he's still on. He got hurt last year.
I think.
Yeah, he keeps going up and down. He spent more time with the Clippers than the Indians.
So Naquin, Ramirez. I don't think none of our pitching is still there. It was one of our catchers.
Oh, it was Roberto Perez.
It was Roberto.
He was the backup back then.
Yeah. So that is the 3 players we still have from the 2016 World Series run.
Look at the Cavs, though.
Yeah, the Cavs are in the same situation.
Like, they have Kevin Love and Dellavedova, and that's like it.
Yeah. And obviously, you see that whenever teams make it to a championship, you'll see they have to restructure everybody. And after making it that far, a lot of guys want more money. But it is something that sucks to see, especially as a Cleveland fan, is we get so close and then we trade away everything. Luckily, however, the Browns have a ton of cap space, so we can re-sign and keep this success.
I feel like we had to sacrifice the Indians and the Cavs to get the Browns.
Yeah,
Like,
there
I
had
feel
to have been some blood
you can't have
sacrifice or
3
something.
good teams at one time.
Yeah.
So that was our choice. I feel like more people prayed that the Browns would do better. So at that point,
Yeah,
like,
we got to see
like, nope.
success with the other two teams in the late
We were
2010s.
2 for 3 in 2016 though.
I know,
Yeah,
which is pretty awesome. And in 2016, that's when Stipe won his belt.
yeah.
For the
we
first
had
time.
Stipe as the world heavyweight champion, and now we also have the Columbus Crew as MLS champions. The
Blue Jackets have
are
made
playoff
the
contenders.
playoffs.
Yeah,
All the time. So
Yeah.
the Bucks are going to the national
Ohio State's going to national.
championship.
Yeah, this Ohio is now coming up again, as we saw 4 years ago.
The sports mecca of the U.S.
Yeah. Other news that I saw recently, New Orleans is ruined as an organization right now. The Saints, they have negative $100 million in cap space next year. They have to restructure every single player currently on the team to essentially no money, and they're still like 30 million in the hole then because of guys.
Won't they just cut Jameis Winston and that'll deal with half the problem?
If you cut Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Jameis Winston, and 4 or 5 other guys, you're still 30 million over.
Well, they're not going to cut all those people.
But you can't be over the cap, and if you cut everybody and restructured and essentially gave your draft picks as little as possible, you'd still be over money. So they're screwed. They owe so much money to players that are on other teams or retired that they're in a win now situation because they can't do anything for the future. And I don't think they can do it.
I don't know.
I think the Saints win the Super Bowl this year. They're going to try and give Drew Brees his ring before he retires.
He already has a ring.
Another one, I mean. Just
Well,
like
he already
Manning.
has
They're
one.
gonna-
They ain't
just
making
like
it
Manning.
past the second round.
You don't beat Green Bay. It's the NFC's
They're
going
gonna
through
do
Green
just
Bay.
like they did Manning. They're going to give him the ring right before he retires.
No.
Yeah, but
I don't see that happening.
no one Denver's defense gave Manning his ring.
Yeah, Denver's
it's
defense
not
Yeah,
gave
their
Peyton
offense
his.
sucked.
Yeah,
Right,
so
well, it's
Denver's
not
defense
like
got him there.
The Saints have that
That killer
defense to get them
yeah.
there. They have a good defense.
Oh yeah,
They obviously
no way
wouldn't be in
it's
the playoffs
bad.
if they didn't. But
Much like
They're
the
not the
Colts,
same.
it's a great defense and a kind of mid-range offense and a great offense and mid-range defense. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with that. But there's another piece of news we talked about right before the show that I'm not remembering right now.
the Factory of Sadness closed.
Oh yeah, Mike Polk Jr., reporter for Cleveland News, officially announced the Factory of Sadness is closed. The Browns, making it to the playoffs for the first time in 18 years, has officially closed the Factory of Sadness. And
That's
that's
pretty
something
Now
that
we just wait another year and it reopens.
I
Yeah.
would say just give
The
it
new and
time.
improved.
We'll reopen
We
it.
lose everyone on defense and offense.
Yeah.
Back open.
Also, Brady is trying to find a new baseball team. I would like to say they announced Lindor was leaving. He said, "Well, who do we cheer for now?" And I was like, "The Indians until you die. You don't get to hop ship." He already hopped ship with leaving the Cavs and cheering for the Clippers now.
I
Yeah,
still like the Cavs.
About that.
Clippers.
Why'd you choose the Clippers of any LA team out there? Like you could have been
Couldn't
like,
even
oh, I'm just
pick
gonna
the
follow
good one.
LeBron. Like that's reasonable. You're following LeBron. But no, you were like, oh, I'm gonna go to the Clippers and watch PG hit the ball off the side of the backboard. Like, why would you do that to yourself?
Oh,
He just likes a team that makes
Hey,
it.
No
No,
excuses.
that shows in the
only
playoffs.
main
Don't excuse
the only main reason that I like the Clippers is because Kawhi Leonard killed the Warriors with a crap team. Kawhi Leonard himself killed the Warriors.
I mean, that's still not enough reason to leave the Cavs. That's
I didn't say I left the Cavs.
No, I
love
don't
the
blame him for
Cavs.
leaving the Cavs. I left the Cavs a long time ago, but I'm just saying, why'd you choose the Clippers?
yeah.
Wait, then who's your team, Aaron?
I follow LeBron.
Oh, okay.
The Lakers.
It's not bandwagon if it's LeBron, okay?
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I'm
because
still
sometimes
a fan of I'm a fan of the Lakers. I'm not like a huge
you
fan.
can't cheer for both LA teams.
Well, I can choose
You
whoever
can't
I
do
want.
that.
I'm more of like I cheer for individual players. I like to watch
That's what
individual
I'm
players
gonna
and
watch.
teams.
It's the fantasy football way of looking at it. I'm not going to cheer for a specific team. I'm just gonna cheer for the players that I have.
Yeah, I get that. Like what I like to do every year, basically I've done it with football every year because the Browns normally suck. I go with one team from the AFC, one team from the NFC, and then I pick my favorite underdog in the playoffs, and those are my teams for the year. This year I don't have to do that, obviously. Yeah. But, I might do that with baseball and basketball this year. Like I really like the Trailblazers. I like CJ McCollum.
That's some guy I want to cheer for.
Yeah, he's from Ohio. He's from Canton. Like he's from 20 minutes. Yeah, he went to Glen Oak.
Cleveland.
No, he went to Glen Oak.
Damn, I know that.
Yeah, he's from literally like 20 minutes down the street from where y'all are all at.
Yeah.
So
like down the street.
Down 77, that's a street.
Just down the road a ways.
Yeah, but like you could that's why I like the Trailblazers. That and they actually have a really good team. And Portland needs love. When was the last time they were good? Like in the sense of winning?
Whenever Damian Lillard shot over Paul George.
The 90s, probably.
Yeah, another reason you shouldn't be cheering for Paul George.
Paul George.
Listen, you got to respect Paul George's comeback. He snapped his ankle in half. He pulled a Kevin Ware, and his ankle was like, meh, and he still came back. And he actually does decent. He's not playoff PG or whatever he calls himself. Like he doesn't show up in big moments. So like that's his issue. But he's still a good player.
Oh yeah, he's an all-star player, but he's definitely not the guy I'd want taking the clutch shot. If the aliens got the death beam pointed at Earth,
who would you? Well, okay, then.
Who am I having to take the shot?
What player? What one player in the NBA do you want taking the shot if they're shooting?
If I have to have somebody take the final shot, Steph is up there. If he's not on the Warriors, I think the Warriors right now are killing him. Kelly Oubre and Wiggins are killing him.
Last night.
I think Kyrie has kind of lost that clutch shot a little bit. I think he's still a great player.
Either Curry or
I'd have Kevin Durant take the final shot. Kevin Durant or Damian Lillard, I think, are the two best in terms of clutch shots. If you're talking final second three, LeBron is also always going to be top three in pretty much any statistical category talking about it. But I don't know. Because I think whenever you talk clutch shot, it's going to be outside the perimeter. So that's what I would say.
So it has to be a clutch three-point shot is what you're saying.
In most situations, I think the clutch shot is usually a three-pointer because of the lead and at least in recent history, most of the clutch shots that we've seen have been a three-pointer.
Christmas Day, 2016. That was a little fadeaway two-pointer.
A fadeaway two-pointer, yeah. I don't know. In terms of the playoffs, I think a lot of the clutch shots have been from deep.
Well, wasn't Kawhi's shot, what was it, like 2 years ago? Whenever
that was
like boink, boink, boink. Sixers. That was two, wasn't it?
No, that was a corner three.
Yeah, that was a three.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, that it does seem like the outside the perimeter shot has become more well known as the clutch shot. So that's why I would say Dame and KD over LeBron. But LeBron always has that kind of clutchness and sense of greatness about him that I think he could take it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think from range, I would take those two.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like Dame is never in that conversation for some reason. I don't know why, but he would be mine, I think.
Yeah.
Because he's always had those big moments. Like, he doesn't let the big moments fluster him.
Yeah.
Like a James Harden. Like, he lets the big moments fluster him. So.
Yeah, when are we going to see James Harden get cut like Dwayne Haskins?
He's not going to. He's too good.
He's too good. They accept him going to the strip club because he's too good.
He's essentially like a Rob Gronkowski or, what's his name? Freaking the Bulls.
Dennis Rodman.
Thank you. Like, they know that when he's not in Houston, he's doing whatever the heck he wants, but he shows up and he plays. Yeah. He may be overweight right now, and he may not have his head in the game, to bring up a High School Musical reference.
Yeah.
But, like, boy's still producing. Like, he's killing.
Yeah, he's still popping.
Another player I could honestly take for that 3-point clutch shot, Trae Young.
Yeah, I think he's an up-and-comer. I don't think we've seen enough of him for me to say that he's top or Luka. Yeah, I think that there's not enough instances of it happening for me to say it.
Yeah, I'd like to see them more in, like, the playoff do-or-die Game 7 type situation.
Yeah.
Or even, like, a win and you're in type situation. Then I would agree. But both are definitely next generation, like, this
Yeah.
upcoming generation clutch shot type of guys.
Also, last night after the Wizards fell to 2-7, Bradley Beal gave an amazing quote about why
Yeah.
they're doing so bad, saying that they couldn't guard a parked car. And I think that stands out as my my top quote for 2021 is Bradley Beal saying
So
that
far.
they can't guard. Yeah, so far. I mean, we are only like a week in, but we can't even guard a parked car is up there from one of my favorite quotes of the year.
He's spitting. I mean,
I'm saying he's not telling a
wrong.
lie.
He's not wrong in any way. That team cannot defend for anything.
Yeah, like one of their
Funniest thing
main.
was whenever Taco rejected.
Yeah,
Oh.
Taco
Russell
Falls.
Westbrook.
why were people trying to go up on him? Like,
Who tries to even get the layup whenever a 7-footer is in there?
Russ tried to, Brad tried to. It's like, what are you thinking? This dude's a whole foot taller than you. He's 200 pounds bigger than you. Like, what is your thought process? You're gonna run through him? No, he is a brick wall.
I think that's why they were trying to because he's so lanky. Like he's just a tall, skinny guy. He still has muscle, but I think that they were trying to overpower him and make him foul to get him out, or to get him in foul trouble just to sit him on the bench.
Yeah.
But it obviously did not work out
All right.
well.
And joining us a little bit late and behind, we have Brandon Ravine joining us via mobile.
Hey.
Our walking
Hi,
medical.
Brandon.
Brandon Ravine is with us.
Hello.
But yeah, Brandon, you didn't miss much. We've just been talking about some of the random news that we've had this week. We're about to go into our picks for the NFL games. And we'll start off with the one that's going to start in about an hour and a half, the Colts-Bills game. I'll start off, then we'll go Aaron, Brady, the voice of Brandon Ravine, and then end with Aaron.
Wait, which Aaron goes first?
So
Me?
EP, then
Okay.
Brady, then Brandon's detached voice, and then Aaron. My brother Aaron.
EP better go first.
Yeah. All right. I have to do that for diversity purposes because Aaron seems
Shut up.
because Erin
Shut
is the
up.
one girl and all of her talking points are very accurate and on point. But since Brandon and John always go before her, she ends up getting all of her talking points stolen. So it seems like she doesn't know
It's
what she's
okay.
talking about.
It's okay.
So
I
for
still love them.
diversity purposes, we're going to show that Erin does know what she's talking about.
Shut up.
She's not just the token girl.
God.
All right, so first up, we got the Colts at the
Terrible.
Bills. This situation, I got proven wrong with Clemson, Ohio State, not trusting my favorite team. So I'm going to have faith in my team this time. I'm going to take the Colts winning it in a nail-biter. Defense is one of the top in the NFL, and we've seen them shut down good quarterbacks before. Josh Allen is a really great one, and with having Stephon Diggs, I think it's going to be difficult. But I think if Buckner can provide enough stress on him and make him make mistakes, it'll keep it a close game. And we do see Jonathan Taylor top 3 in the run game. Phillip Rivers is my biggest question mark about this game. All season, I have hated on him and said we should have gotten somebody younger and better. But I think that he might get his first playoff win in a while. I'm going to take the Colts winning this one close.
I'm going to switch it up. I'm going with the Bills. I get it. You're a Colts fan, Gib. I'm sorry, though. I'm going to go with the Bills. I do think the combo of Stephon and Josh Allen is just going to be too much. I don't see the Colts defense being dynamic enough to step up and stop them today. And I'm also rooting for the Bills because Buffalo needs this. They're just like the Browns. They haven't had a good win in a long time, playoff wise. They haven't had a solid team in a long time, but they do now. So yeah, in my heart of hearts, I'm rooting for the Bills. And then statistically speaking, I'm rooting for the Bills.
All right.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Bills. Like you said, Aaron, the combo between Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs is pretty good. But don't forget, they also have Cole Beasley and John Brown.
Cole Beasley's out this week.
He's out this week? Okay,
Knee injury.
Then John Brown. Pretty good. Hasn't really played much this season, but I think it'll be a close game. I think the Bills have the better offense and defense in this one, though.
All right. Brandon?
Okay, so I think we've totally overlooked 2 huge points to this game. One, you have the Colts with a new quarterback in Phillip Rivers. That time to mesh is really important for playoff time. I think that's totally overlooked because most of the time you've already played these teams at least once throughout the season when it comes to wild card first round, just like the Browns. I think that's really important of that time to mesh for multiple seasons and have a united team going forward. The other thing is that the Colts are traveling up to Buffalo.
Yep.
Colts play in a beautiful, air-conditioned, heated
Indoor.
dome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge thing. You're going up to Buffalo where it's a high of 33 today and partly cloudy. And, I think those are going to be two huge factors. Philip Rivers is used to playing in the cold north, and I don't think he's had enough time to mesh with his team. So I'm going to go with Buffalo.
All right.
Good point, Brandon. Good
Yep.
point.
Aaron?
I'm going with the Bills, and this is just purely because I don't think Indy can pull through on their offense. They're not going to put up many points, in my personal opinion. I don't think I just can't see it happening. But their defense is amazing. That's the thing, though. If they have any chance of winning, it's going to be with their defense.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going with the Bills.
All right. And our other co-host Braxton and John that couldn't make it this week. Braxton is taking the Colts with me, and John is taking Buffalo. They were luckily able to send me their picks before the show started, so I have all of theirs written down. But next up, we got the Rams traveling up to Seattle for their game. Goff is out for this game. That is going to be a huge factor. We've seen Goff is pretty consistent at being above average as a quarterback. This new guy has played 2 games with him, and that's got to be your big question mark. Yes, you do have Aaron Donald, who is a killer on defense, and that's really going to help you with field position if you're this new quarterback. But against Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf, it's going to be tough. You're on the road. I'm pretty sure they're allowing some fans in, so you're not going to get that true 12th man that you get in Seattle, but you still are getting something. And I know that that small amount of fans is definitely going to try and make some noise and disrupt the Rams. And that's going to be why I'm going to take the Seahawks. I think it's going to be close. We're going to see Aaron Donald have a really good game, but it's just not going to be enough.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks too. I'll be interested to see if Aaron Donald's going to have a good game because it's really the tough lineman against the quick, mobile, small quarterback. So it really is going to be interesting to see if he can get to Russell Wilson a lot or if Russell Wilson can escape. But when it comes to offense, I agree Seattle has the better offense, and I think that's what's going to get the job done today. So, yeah, I'm going with the Seahawks.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna take the Seahawks. Like I was talking with my dad before the show. Seahawks have DK, Lockett, Wilson, Carson, and Adams and Bobby Wagner. All of them are stars. Rams really lean off of their defense, so their offense is going to kind of struggle against the Seahawks defense. So I'm going to take the Seahawks.
All right, Brandon.
Little Gibb coming in and just speaking truth right there, because that's exactly what I'm looking at. You're looking at Russell Wilson, who is built for the playoffs. The guy is consistent whenever it comes to playoff time and making big plays down the stretch. I truly don't see the Rams really having a chance in this one. I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
All right. And Aaron?
I'm going with the Seahawks. And that's purely because they're the better offense. Even without Goff, or I should say with Goff, the Rams offense isn't
great.
Spectacular.
They're far from elite even with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. But their defense, on the other hand, amazing defense. You got Donald, you got Jalen Ramsey, and a whole bunch of other guys. But whenever you got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, whoever the running back is, Carson. Yeah, Chris Carson. I knew his name. I don't know why I said that.
Hyde.
Yeah, you got those guys. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this, but I saw something that they're lining like Jalen Ramsey up on DK. So I don't see.
It's up Lockett. And that opens up Lockett, and that's the big issue. You can't cover 2 great receivers, and Lockett has an amazing catch percentage, and that's what it comes. If you cover DK, Lockett's going to catch most of the things that come his way.
That's what I'm saying. And even with DK covered, dude's a freaking giant. Like,
yeah,
he can just like
through him.
Doom, and Jalen Ramsey's going to go flying because he looks like he's 110 pounds.
Yeah.
But anyway, Lockett's going to be getting all the catches. Dude's an animal. And that's why I'm saying that the Seahawks are winning.
All right.
Wait, do the Rams have Aqib Talib or is that someone else?
I don't know where Talib went. I thought he retired.
Or is it Chris Harris? I have no clue.
Chris Harris still with
I do know
Denver.
that I thought that
Harris is still with Denver.
I do know that the Rams have some good corners, so it'll be a lot of runs and a lot of runs from out of pocket.
Ramsey was able to shut down Hopkins pretty well last week. He figured out and a lot of guys have figured out the way to beat DK is watch his hips. He is such a big guy that as long as you watch his hips, you know which way he's going. He can't try and psych you out that way. So yeah, I think if Hurts is able to see that and cover him, it then leads it to have your second best guy shut down Lockett and make him run the ball. But I don't think that's going to happen. Seattle's going to win it. And Braxton and Sacco agreed it's going to be Seattle across the board. Next up, we got the Washington football team at the Bucks. It sounds weird that the division team is going to be on the road, but this is one I think Alex Smith, 100% comeback player of the year. What he went through is amazing. Finding the cancer in his leg, finding out that he was supposed to die, that he wasn't going to ever be able to walk, that he should never play, and now he's starting games and making it into the playoffs is amazing. 100% comeback player of the year, no debate.
Correction. Did you say cancer?
Yeah, I had heard
it wasn't cancer.
Yeah,
the John Theismann injury happened to Alex.
There's a flesh-eating bacteria.
Okay, but yeah, they were essentially like, you might die, you might have to cut off the leg.
Yeah.
But
never walk again.
Yeah, and he overcame all of this, 100% comeback player of the year. But I think what's separating the Washington football team, I really hope to pick a new name. I hate saying it. From being a legitimate playoff threat is a quarterback. Alex Smith is great, but I think having a new quarterback that really can get it done would make this team playoff caliber. Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson seem to be great weapons that have paid off this year. If you had them in fantasy, it really helped you out. But the thing is, the biggest factor in this game is not Chase Young going after Tom Brady. It is playoff Tom Brady. We have seen year after year, this man turns into a whole different player whenever it comes time for the playoffs. We've seen him with similar records to what he has now go into the playoffs and just decimate everybody. And because of that, and I think he has better weapons with the Bucs than he ever did with the Patriots, this is going to be an easy win for Tom Brady.
I'm still undecided, to be completely honest. Like, when Alex Smith is the quarterback of the Washington football team, they're 5-1. Like, they win games whenever, and like Brandon pointed out earlier, a quarterback needs time to gel and get along with his teammates. And Tom Brady has had the same coach and the same teammates for 20 years. Like, he has a whole new vibe now in Tampa Bay. So it'll be interesting to see how he does with the new coach and a new attack and a new mentality towards playoff games, because the Bucs haven't been there. They aren't the seasoned vets that the Patriots were before. But on the reverse side of that, the Washington football team is very young. Like, their captains, Chase Young is a captain. He's a rookie. Terry McLaurin is a captain. It's his second year. Like, they are a very young team, and they also haven't been there before. So it'll be really interesting. I love Ron Rivera's story, though. The fact that he was the one who had cancer, overcame his cancer, was getting chemo and IVs and literally all of that during the season. So my head says the Bucs, but my heart says the Washington football team. So I'm going with the underdog. I'm going to go with the Washington football team.
All right.
Yeah.
Brady?
All right. I'm going to take the Bucs. Like you said, Tom Brady's always going to be just playoff Tom Brady when it's playoff time. Tom Brady's a whole other animal in the postseason. But you also got to think, he has way more weapons than he did in New England now. So that'll really affect it. I don't think that the Washington football team's defense can stop all those weapons Brady has. So I'm going to take the Bucs.
Yeah. Yeah, he got to go from having guys my size from Kent State as his number one receiver to guys that are Mike Evans size that are – Brady, how tall is he?
Mike Evans?
Yeah.
Probably like 6'5" something.
6'5", 6'6", like big dude.
And Mike Evans is out.
He's out?
Yeah.
I mean, they still have Godwin, Antonio Brown, Leonard
Ronald Jones, Leonard
Jones,
Fournette.
yeah, you still have all of these other weapons. So
BT Dubs, Googled it. Mike Evans is 6'5".
6'5". Yeah, that's a pretty big dude compared to a little white guy from Kent State that's the same size as me.
But like Chase Claypool, he's huge. That's how he gets all those nice acrobat catches that he gets.
All right. So yeah, Brandon, your pick for the Washington Tampa game.
So EP had a lot of great points, and I completely agree with her. My heart says Washington, my head says Tampa Bay, because at the end of the day, you have Tom Brady.
Yep.
Tom Brady is Mr. Consistent, especially when it comes to the playoffs. But we don't know how it's going to roll with being in Tampa Bay this year. I think another big thing is with Mike Evans being out, I think that's a big deal. I really do. He is a tight end that can run like a wide receiver, and that's just incredible. I think that's a big bonus for Tampa Bay when he's healthy.
Yeah.
So I think the story and the push of Alex Smith and Ron Rivera, I think those are two very, mental things. And I truly believe, sports are very heavily mental. Yes, physicality is huge, but mentally you got to be prepared and be ready. I think the Washington football team can pull this out. I really do. And like Aaron said, neither of these teams have been in this place before. So it's all new territory. So I'm going to go with Washington.
Can I interject for a quick second?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Also, you have to acknowledge Ron Rivera's made it to a Super Bowl before.
Yeah.
And
Bruce
Alex
Arians
Smith
has
has
been
won
in the
playoff
playoffs
games
before.
before. Well,
That's the
I'm going
thing.
to say Alex Smith has also won playoff games before. So, when I say there isn't the leadership in the locker room to get them there, there is, just not.
It's just not as much. Yeah. It's same
Yeah,
thing with
sorry.
Patriots.
I
Bruce
just wanted
Arians
to
and Tom
verify
Brady
that.
have been to the big game before. It's just a lot of the guys on the team haven't.
Right.
Also, don't forget the Rob Gronkowski. Playoff Rob Gronkowski always seems to do better. So
Yeah. Also, stat correction, Julian Edelman is 5'10". He is 3 inches shorter than me. All right, but Aaron, your pick for the game?
No, I want the football team to win. I really do. They've
Which
got
one?
Alex Smith. The Washington one, you know what
You're
I
funny,
mean. Yeah,
Brandon.
that's real funny. No, but you made me lose my train of thought. Okay, anyway,
You
I
as
want
well.
them to win. Is what I'm trying to say, because they got Alex Smith. I mean, dude was with the metal leg for how
Yeah.
long?
Yeah.
It's crazy that he's even out there having a 5-1 team. We're gonna ignore that part that
He wasn't starting.
Dwayne
that
had in.
Haskins was part of. Yeah.
We're just gonna ignore that. That never happened.
Just saying, they need to name that comeback player of the trophy, comeback player of the year trophy
yeah.
after him.
Oh yeah,
This
absolutely.
is just an incredible story.
But
Aaron,
at the
you gotta
same
take
time, the
Washington.
Bucks, they got TB12, they got Gronk, they got Godwin,
They got
they got all these
AB.
weapons. And TB12, he's different. I'll say that. But that's why I'm going with the Washington football team.
All right.
Look at that. We're split.
Yeah. Braxton and Sacco both took Tampa in this. So yeah, it's a 3-4 split with it. We are being pretty diverse with our picks. Obviously Seattle, we all were like, it's a clear winner. But next up, that was our last game for today. Tomorrow's first game will be Baltimore traveling to Tennessee. This one's going to be really good on offense. I think defensively, both of these teams aren't at their peak. They could definitely add a couple items in and be a lot better. But this game is only close because of Lamar Jackson. The Baltimore run game is above average, but not great or anything special. Their pass
JK
game
has done really well this year
Yeah.
statistically. Just saying.
Dobbins is good, but I think that I don't know. I think he's being overshadowed by Lamar being a mobile quarterback, and that's going to be kind of something that your run game goes through Lamar, not through your running back, which is unique, but it ends up hurting your pass game because you don't have a true number one receiver. Yes, you have Dez Bryant and you have Marquise Brown, who are both great, but I don't think either of them is in a position right now where they are a true number one, that he is the guy that you look for downfield for the deep ball. And that's the big issue I have with the Ravens right now. They are good, but the biggest question mark is, can Lamar rely on his pass game to get a win? Because thus far we've seen any of their wins came from Lamar getting a lot of motion and yardage off of his own feet. And that's something that Tennessee doesn't have to do. They have Derrick Henry, who is the 8th player to ever cross 2,000 yards. And that is not anything that should be taken lightly. It is an amazing feat. But even Ryan Tannehill has shown, hey, I'm a legitimate quarterback. I'm not just the guy that's going to hand it off to Derrick Henry and step back. He's thrown a lot of deep balls to A.J. Brown and Corey Davis and have been successful. And I know the big thing at stopping Lamar is a great front four, and I think the Titans lack that. But this is going to be a high-scoring game, and the biggest X factor in this game is kickers. That's something that we won't talk about a whole lot on any sports talk show, but with a game like this, every yard matters, and if Baltimore can only get to the 40, you know Justin Tucker is going to make the kick for you. You know he is a lock from 40 and up. Where I think that right now the Ravens have a new young kicker that hasn't got to play a whole lot because Gostkowski is hurt. We don't know enough about him. He could be very accurate and be the next great kicker, or he could be like Cody Parkey a couple years ago where he's young, he's inexperienced. The amount of stress on the game ends up making you miss the big kick. So with that being said, I'm going to take the Titans winning this.
I'm going to agree with Gibb. Like, Justin Tucker's probably the best kicker in the NFL and maybe all-time most reliable anyways.
That is Adam Vinatieri.
Adam
Vinatieri.
Phil Dawson.
Yeah.
Phil Dawson,
I'm
yeah.
talking right now, people.
All right.
Listen, I love Phil Dawson. Phil Dawson was my favorite player on the Browns for years because he was the only one that's
He's the only one you can remember.
I love Phil Dawson. I was so upset when he went to San Francisco. I understand, but I'm saying right now.
As of right now, yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard so many people interject and it's over a conversation about kickers.
We're passionate about kickers, man.
Let's go to punters now.
Punters? Wow. Okay,
Pat
no,
McAfee.
I'm kidding.
Pat McAfee's the only one I can remember by name, and Johnny Hecker. But all right, Aaron, back to you.
Johnny Hecker.
But no, I think that the Ravens are playing their best football. They've just been rolling because they knew they had to win to get in. But on the reverse side of that, the Titans are very good. Tannehill has always been a good quarterback. He just needed to leave Miami to prove it. And I think that the combo of him and Henry is very difficult to stop. Him and Derrick Henry. Again, I'm kind of torn. Like, I want the Titans to win, but I feel like the Ravens defense might be a little bit better than the Titans defense. And this is going to be a battle of defenses. Whoever's defense can step up more is going to be the team that wins. So, oh God, last minute decision. I'm just going to go with the Titans.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with Titans.
All right, I'm also going with the Titans. Derrick Henry will run all over everyone, kill him, hurdle him, do whatever Najee Harris can do.
He doesn't have to hurdle over him, Brady. He's so
He just
big,
shoves
he
them
doesn't
off.
need to hurdle him. He just pushes them out of the way.
Just like talk to the hand. But yeah, Derrick Henry's gonna go off. I don't really think the Ravens can do anything but do offense. So I think that the Titans will win this one.
All right, Brandon.
Okay, because I know Lamar Jackson definitely listens. I want him to prove me wrong.
He definitely listens every week.
He listens to us, yeah.
Right?
It's only for you, Brandon.
Okay, I knew it. I need him to prove me wrong. I don't need him. I want him to. I think he's the next Cam Newton. I think he runs the ball too much. I think injuries are going to catch up to him. And I think he's going to become that quarterback that was something special for a few years because no one really knew how to contain him. But as soon as you learn how to contain him, he's nothing. You know,
Possibly.
the NFL isn't built – well, the NFL isn't built around running quarterbacks for a very specific reason, because of injuries.
Yeah.
You are playing against – I mean, especially nowadays in the NFL and almost every sport, these athletes are superhuman. They're 6'5", 6'8", 225, and just pure lean, mean muscle. Like, it's unbelievable, especially compared to past times like the 70s and 80s football where, a lineman was, for the most part, fat. Today, linemen have abs, and it's unbelievable. Like,
Yeah.
I think Lamar Jackson needs to create a passing game for himself that doesn't involve him having an option to run every single time. I think that's going to catch up to him. Given that, though, I think the Ravens right now have the better offense. I think Lamar Jackson's run game is what makes them elite. I'm going to go with the Ravens here. I don't want them to win, but I think they're going to win just based off of Lamar Jackson being that X factor.
All right. And Aaron?
You know, I want to say the Ravens. I really do. But I don't think that Jackson can pull it out of his behind. Dude doesn't throw. He has no one to throw to. His only option is, oh, I'm going to sit here and wait until I can run in a straight line for a little bit. That's not going to get them anywhere. Derrick Henry's going to shovel through their entire defense, just left and right, just smacking people on the helmet. Some stupid thing like that. And everyone's just going to be like, oh my God, Derrick Henry. It's like, dude's giant.
He's going to turn a corner into a blocker again.
Yeah.
Literally. And Tannehill also has people to throw to. That's
All right.
what Lamar lacks. And that's why I'm saying the Titans are going to win.
All right. And Braxton took Tennessee. Sacco took Baltimore. And we are on to the best game of the week, Chicago traveling to New Orleans. This will also, as well as CBS, it will also be aired on Nickelodeon. Not making this up, that this game will be viewable on Nickelodeon. I'm pretty sure they said they're gonna try and slime people on TV with, I'm guessing, effects and put googly eyes on people. Part of me wants to just watch the game on Nickelodeon to see how it looks, but
Hey, why did they partner with Nickelodeon?
they want to have the NFL be more accessible to a younger audience. So they went, we're gonna have Nickelodeon have one of the games.
Those kids know how to work a TV remote.
Yeah,
turn on CBS.
Yeah.
What is the difference? Don't know. It's kind of weird, but this game will be available on CBS, Amazon Prime, and Nickelodeon.
Well, like Gibby said, though, they're trying to get a younger audience. If you realize that slowly the transition of football over the years, it's a lot more youth teams are now flag football teams instead of tackle. A lot more of those kids that played football, their parents are leaning them towards soccer or tennis or other sports that maybe aren't as risky. So they're really, really trying to get a younger crowd. If you notice the mean age of NFL, fans are in their mid-50s, 60s. So
Yeah, but that's
really
also the
pushing to get a
exact
younger
same
crowd.
way when it comes to the MLB. The median age for the
Absolutely.
MLB is older. That's how sports are. It's because right now sports are too expensive for people our age to afford to go. And arenas are getting smaller, luxury boxes are getting bigger, and pricing is really hard and not manageable for a family of 4 to go to a game anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not. So it's grandma and grandpa take the kids.
Yeah. This coming from somebody that did work for the Washington Nationals in ticket sales. She is 100% the expert to have on this right now.
And you just hit the nail right on that. I couldn't have said it better. There's no way.
Yeah.
EP,
Sorry,
that
I've
is
only
quotable.
learned
That
about
should
it
be
in school for 4 years.
headlines. EP, those are headlines right there. Damn. Speak the truth.
Sorry. Just had to interject.
No, you're
But
good.
continue.
But back to the game. Bears Saints. Trubisky's got to be playing for his career this week. If you're not firing on all cylinders, Chicago is going to go, well, Deshaun wants out of Houston. We missed him in the draft. We're going to go get him now. And that has got to be something that is definitely in the back of Trubisky's head right now. Obviously, forefront is play the game, play good, and win. Back head is, if I don't do good enough, they're going to replace me, and I'm going to end up as a career backup. And my basically starting career in the NFL is next to over. But I think that this isn't going to be an issue. I think Kamara's back from COVID. Michael Thomas is back from injury. Drew Brees is healthy. All of these players from the Saints are back, and I think that they are going to be going, we've been screwed 3 years in a row by poor officiating. We're not going to let that happen this year. We're just going to beat them outright and not need the refs giving them any sort of assistance. This is something that I think this is Drew Brees' last ride. if he doesn't retire this year, he's leaving New Orleans and probably going to a team that is not playoff ready. So that is something that I think we're going to see the end of Drew Brees' career at some point this year. And it saddens you to hear he's had a great career, but I think this is going to be the last shot. But New Orleans wins it today or tomorrow. This is the game. I think this is your easiest game in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think this season has been both good and bad for Saints fans. Like, it's been good because obviously they're winning, but sad because you very much have seen the decline of Drew Brees. And I think this is his last ride. I'm pretty sure that there are already rumors out and about that he has talked to the organization saying that he's done after this year. So I would love to see him win. I already talked about it. The Saints have a ton of Ohio State players, so I'm biased anyway. But I do think that the Saints deserve a shot because they've been so good these past few years and have really come down to the last minute game.
The call going the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go with the Saints just because I think their offense is way more dynamic, and I don't think Trubisky is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think he is going to be a career backup, and that's fine. Sit on the bench, watch a lot of film, get paid millions of dollars.
Sam Bradford and Fitzpatrick have made a ton of money doing it. And
Colt McCoy. He is still in
Josh
the league.
McCown.
Yeah.
These are guys that have just been journeyman backups.
I thought McCown retired.
No, McCown's is the Texans' emergency quarterback now.
Just saying, if there is a position you want, if you want to play any major league sport, you want to be a backup quarterback in the NFL. You rarely play. You get paid a boatload of money for 16, soon to be 17 games a year. That's what you want. To me, that is like the perfection of a major league athlete right there.
The backup holder for long snaps. I feel like either one
Usually
of those.
Usually that's the punter.
Yes.
That's going to trend where it's the punter now. So I guess you'd be the backup punter maybe, or a backup QB that does the holding.
Yeah, but I think that would be ideal for him. Honestly, I don't know. He didn't get to play a lot of games in college, so I don't know if he was prepared for the NFL in that sense. And I think this would take a lot of stress off of anyone's plate. But yeah, I see the Saints winning easy.
All right, Brady.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Saints. Short week, Bears have no chance.
Yeah. All right, Brandon.
Man, the Saints to me are just one of those teams that we just, as Ohioans, kind of like. I don't know why. I think I would say it's because of all the Ohio State players that have played. I think Drew Brees just seems like a likable person. And no one besides Drew Hirschberg likes the Patriots from Ohio. And I don't understand why he does. But, I'm going to go with the Saints here. I think that's an easy decision. I really hope it's not Drew Brees' last season with the Saints. I think it might be. But, I mean, he's just one of those guys that I've grown up always loving to watch, loving to see him win. And, if he does retire at the end of the year, does he move into a different role with the team? Does he become front office? Does he become a quarterback's coach? Like, what does he do after this?
He's going to coach his kids' teams.
Yeah, that is possible.
It's a lot of coaching.
Yeah. He only has 3. Philip Rivers is the one with like 18.
Oh, yeah. That switched.
Or Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner has double digits in kids too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kurt Warner also is retired and has had time to do it. Philip Rivers has just been playing his career and not wearing a condom.
Catholics.
Okay, we are getting wild here.
It's still less bad than some of the stuff Brandon said last week. Aaron, who are you picking for this game?
The Saints, man. The Chicago ain't doing nothing. They're not. Trubisky's gonna be like, "Oh, hey guys, I'm 5'6", and do nothing the entire game. So that's why I'm saying the Saints. He's not 5'6".
We all
he's
just heard
short.
Aaron's real voice.
I was just about to say it's wild to hear the high pitched version.
He gets deep for the podcast, but that's his real voice, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, Brown's got Harrison Bryant back
All right,
in.
little trivia for you. Which team drafted Drew Brees?
Colts.
No.
Chargers.
Yes. He was drafted by the San Diego Chargers as a backup to Philip Rivers. Other way around. He was drafted, hurt his shoulder. They took Philip Rivers' takeover and traded Brees to the Saints. But yeah, he had a surgery that the only other quarterback to come back after it was Andrew Luck, and we saw he was never the same after it. But yeah, Drew Brees is the only quarterback to go through it. It's some sort of shoulder rotator cuff type of injury that they have to do surgery on.
Yeah,
And
like
he
the
was,
main thing that they use to
yeah, he
play
was
football.
supposed to be done, never play again, got traded to the Saints, and became who he is now. So he's another story of this guy just overcame the odds and ended up succeeding.
Listen, if you want to talk about overcoming the odds, we have to go back to Alex Smith because he was the starter for the 49ers. He got replaced by Kaepernick because he got hurt. Then he got traded to the Chiefs. Guess who he got replaced by? Patrick Mahomes, because again, he got hurt. And now he is in Washington. So I'm just saying.
If we want to actually look at like people who've gotten hurt, we got to look at Nathan Ravine, Brandon's little brother. Kid hurt his knee and proceeded to play football. I mean, kid tore up on that field.
True. Just hobbling around on the sidelines
falls
and
off
kicking
of
butt
cars
on the
and
field.
breaks his ankle.
I wish I had a better story.
All right, we'll move on to the next.
The fifth on that one.
We'll move on to the next game. We got the night game tomorrow night. Browns going to Pittsburgh. The teams are 1-1 against each other right now. You could say that the only reason they're 1-1 is because Pittsburgh bench allowed their starters week 17. But I think Cleveland is on the rise. I think that we are starting to see the decline in that Pittsburgh dynasty that has existed for so long. We're going to see the changing of the guard, whether it be the Browns or the Ravens taking over the AFC North. Ben's about done. He is in the same boat as Drew Brees, where I think you are on your last season or two. You are at the point where I think your body's wearing down. You've got to start looking at retirement. You've done all this. You've hit all of your accomplishments. Maybe it's time to hang up the cleats before anything serious happens, and you have to spend a ton of money to just fix these basic issues that wouldn't have happened had you retired a little bit earlier. I do think that this game has a lot more riding on it than what a lot of people think. I think it's Pittsburgh fans refusing to accept that Pittsburgh's on the decline. We're seeing Cleveland in the first time in 18 years. You have Juju Smith-Schuster calling out the Browns, saying the Browns will always be the Browns. I'm not worried about this game. It's just a bunch of gray faces to me. And it's almost as if he's calling out the Browns, saying, you aren't shit. You're never going to be shit.
Quick interjection, though. Yeah. Did you read the whole quote? Because it's not as bad as it seems.
It's not as bad as what it is. Yeah, I did read the full thing. But the end half of it is they're just a bunch of gray faces. Cleveland will always be Cleveland.
Yeah, but he says that about every team. Like he isn't saying it to dog Cleveland. He's saying it because that's how he looks at football.
Yeah. It's the same Cleveland he has to play every year, which that's the way it sounds. But obviously, whenever you take it out of context, it sounds a lot worse. But it does, in this scenario, I think especially, it does sound like he is going to try and dog on the Browns. This is a rivalry that is very heated and is one of the bigger ones in the NFL. That being said, Cleveland's not going to get it done. Stefanski's out. You've got other players out with COVID. You don't have that coach that got you to the playoffs in the first place to 11-6. And that is the biggest factor. He is such a good coach. He's probably going to get coach of the year, turning around an organization like Cleveland to a playoff team again. But without his play calling, I think that it's going to be a bit of confusion for the Browns, and that's something you can't have against a division rival and against a team with a defense that's as good as Pittsburgh is. You got to be firing on all cylinders offensively and defensively if you want to win this game. And I think that there may be a year and a couple draft picks away, and I think a fully healthy team away from being the new top dogs in the AFC North, or at least competing with Baltimore for that top spot. So sadly, I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this game.
So I guess I have a quick question. Have the Browns had a full practice yet this week?
They got to have a full practice yesterday. They finally got to go back into the facility yesterday, and that was a big part of why I also took Pittsburgh.
At 4:30 p.m., they were finally cleared to have this practice.
To figure out your whole game plan for a very serious game. So, that's...
The fact that they got a practice in means I have to take the Browns. No, I am going to go with the Browns, but I actually feel like it's kind of analytical. Like last week, Stefanski, that's his name now, Stefanski said we didn't throw everything at them because we knew that we would be playing them the next week. That was a direct quote. I visibly didn't see them throw everything at them. I did not see our best offense or our best defense out on that field. So, yes, the fact that our coaches are out is going to hurt, but they have literally been preparing for the same team for 2.5 weeks. You can't tell me that they haven't had all of the other coaches prepared and ready at this point. And, what's going to stop them from doing a Zoom call every single day this week that they weren't able to actually practice to go over strategy and to go over plays? I think Ben playing this week is going to be interesting because, like I said before, he has not, the last 3 or 4 games that he's played, he has not looked good at all. He's looked very, 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 very old, and his accuracy has been not there. He does not look like Big Ben. He looks like, I don't know, Johnny Football, except a lot bigger.
He looks like somebody's uncle, which is what he's already looked like for years.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's going to be really interesting. This is going to be a tough and gritty game. There are going to be a lot of emotions involved. But I do think that the Browns want it more. I think that's the players want it more. I think that the organization wants it more. And I think that they know how much is riding on this game. So, yeah, I think there's a lot more heart and a lot more to back up the Browns. And I also feel like when the Browns are playing their best football, they're going to be really hard to beat and maybe one of the best teams in the NFL.
The Ravens game is probably a great example of that. Also, the Titans game. Whenever they're ready to go. And this situation where I think that you don't get the same emotions in a Zoom call as you do in an actual practice. You're not getting in as many reps with catches or guarding, or even if you're going to come up with new plays or new schemes. I know you usually don't do that in a week, but at least coming up with something different or different audibles that you might call.
But you can't say they haven't been planning for that for the weekend and a half
they definitely have been planning for it since then. But I think it's a whole different animal to go through practice and know, hey, we're going to be playing these guys. This is their tendencies versus actually having to go up against them. Pittsburgh still has a really good defense, and that's the biggest issue. I think Cleveland struggles with the secondary, and as long as you can exploit that, that's how Pittsburgh wins it. That's the sad truth. We still have a bit of a weakness at safety and at linebacker, a little bit at cornerbacks, but that's mostly due to injuries. But as long as you pass the ball on slant routes, you can beat Cleveland pretty easily. It's just run game is shut down because of your front four that's on the Browns defense.
Yeah, but when it comes to practice and stuff, you also have to look at in a regular season and all that stuff. If a team plays a Monday night football game and then turns around and plays Sunday, they're not practicing on Tuesday or Wednesday. So they only have Thursday, Friday, Saturday to prepare for a game.
Yeah.
That's a normal season.
You got
what?
This point,
Brandon.
I agree with Aaron. The practice isn't as important as you think. I think it's more important for the rest and mental preparation for this game, because at this point in the season, you're tired, you're beat up. Almost everyone has an injury of some sort, whether you stoved your pinky toe or you have a quad injury. You have something wrong with you. No one is 100% healthy at this point in the season. So I think this is really where, maybe some rest and mental preparation really, pushes you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think the reason the Browns have to win is a lot stronger than the reason the Steelers have to win. They're playing with a lot more people behind them and backing them. And I don't know, they're a lot, in my opinion, they're young and hungry. A lot of the guys on the team haven't had that Super Bowl chance. Look at Jarvis in Miami. He never had that shot at the Super Bowl. OBJ, he's not on the team, but in New York, never had that shot at the Super Bowl. They all finally have that shot. And I think that the Browns are going to get it done. I do think it's going to be a really gritty game, but I'm going with the Browns.
All right, Brady.
All right, I'm also going to go with the Browns. I know we don't have our coach, but I think the Browns just deserve it more. We've fought so hard this season through COVID. We haven't had everyone healthy, with Odell being out, with our star receiver, which, I don't know, everyone says that we do better without him, but it really helps open up Jarvis more. So I think
he's still a factor in a game. Even if he's not getting the ball, he's still a factor.
But even if maybe they double Jarvis, got Odell. Maybe they double both of them, you got Higgins. That's one thing the Browns have is their wide receiver core. And I hope they keep building on that, but I think that they're going to come out ready to play and show that they're the real deal.
All right. Brandon?
Okay, first off, I'm going to start off with saying the Browns' run game is far superior to the Steelers. I think if we can pressure Big Ben and force him to throw that ball quicker than he's used to throwing it, and roll out and give Baker play action passes and run the ball, I think we got this. But I also want to I'm going to ask a question and then answer it. Who is the pressure really on in this game? It's completely on the Steelers. It is on the Steelers because, one, Big Ben is old. You're starting to realize you have very limited time with them. You know, they got comfortable. You have the Browns who far exceeded every expectation this season, going 11-5. That's everything they need to do. Right there's all the pressure off of Kevin Stefanski. Everyone's job is safe. No one's getting fired. No one's getting released that are, you know, part of the core. So I think all that pressure is off the Browns now.
Yeah. And for
what do we got to lose? Our first playoff game since 2002? Like,
yes.
What's the big deal? We don't have anything to lose. So I really think the pressure is on the Steelers not to lose to the Browns.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think, and Kevin Stefanski's quote was, you know, even without me, like, we know what we have to do. A Zoom call is not going to change that. They know, as in the teammates and the players and the coaches and the staff of the Browns, know what they have to do. And that is just to beat the Steelers. That's it. That's what they have to do. So I'm going to go with the Browns. I really, really think they have a great opportunity to really end this, you know, the years and years of the Steelers
Pittsburgh reigning over the AFC North. Yeah,
exactly. I think they really have a chance to end it and turn the tide. So I'm going with the Cleveland Browns.
And a big factor in Pittsburgh reigning supreme in the AFC North definitely was for years Cleveland and Cincinnati both struggled to put together a good team. So so you essentially had 4 wins every year locked in, and nothing's a guarantee. Any given Sunday, anything can happen. But it was very much an easy win if you were going up against the Browns or going up against the Bengals. Yeah, obviously you still had to try, but it was a lot easier than other games you had throughout the season. So I think now that you finally have competition in the AFC North, it is definitely looking to be one of the hardest divisions to get your spot in, but it is definitely an earned spot that you deserve. So, Aaron, I'll let you go now.
I got to go with the Browns. Got to stick with the homeland. And, I mean, they've showed up this season. They really have. They've showed that they're not that 0-16 team from just a couple years ago. They've kind of showed that, you know, they can win games. They can see themselves in tough situations and then come out on top of it. Do I think it's going to be a close game? Yeah. It'll more than likely come down to just which QB can throw harder. Both defenses are pretty good. Of course, those slant routes, Cleveland kind of lacks on covering those. But who do you have, Juju and Claypool?
Yeah.
Knock Juju out. What's he going to do? Dance a little bit? Like.
And then you got Claypool on a deep route.
Yeah, exactly. But
one thing all of us failed to mention is the inaccuracy and the non-reliability of Cleveland's kicker, which I think is going to be a big part.
Yeah, Cody Parkey.
Well, we purposely ignored that. We don't want to acknowledge it because
I do think Parkey is in a situation where he's been to playoffs for, and yes, he had the double doink whenever he was playing for the Bears. But going back and watching that, he didn't do a whole lot wrong. It was actually a deflected kick off of somebody's hand. He'd previously made it, but they iced him and didn't count the kick. I know I was talking with Jorge, former kicker from Dover, one of my very close friends, about how Parkey kicks. And we both noticed something. He is all hips with it. And with doing that, it ends up tossing which way the ball goes and not staying straight. It ends up giving him a little bit more power, but not enough to counter that. If he twists his hips too much, that ball is going to hook to the left or hook to the right. And that is the big issue is you have a kicker that in his motions of a kick is fundamentally wrong. But we'll move on to our final game, the Monday night, the big show.
Wait, you didn't say what Braxton and Sacco picked.
Braxton went with Cleveland. Sacco went with
what Aaron picked.
Oh, Aaron said Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, me and Sacco are the only ones that took Pittsburgh. And this is one that I think definitely the big game, the national championship, something that I think a lot of people from Ohio are looking forward to. Man, Ohio State's back in the national championship for the first time in a while. The Browns in the playoffs. The Cavs have a winning record. The Indians still exist as the Indians. The Columbus.
Sell the team, Dolan. Paul Dolan. Sell the team.
The Columbus Crew is doing really well. We have a heavyweight MMA fighter that's champion. Ohio is looking really great right now. This game cements it for Ohio being one of the best in sports, especially in football. But right now, it's good to be an Ohioan. And there's just so much we can talk about with this national championship game. I'll give everyone some time to talk about it. Both these teams look straight up amazing. Like, there is very little flaws in their game. And whether you watched that Rose Bowl game and watched Najee Harris just with ease hurdle over a defender like it was nothing, or it was Fields taking that target and then get up and just keep slinging the ball like nothing is wrong with him. It was just amazing games to watch. Fundamentally, these teams both are firing on all cylinders. But the issue is, I'm saying, can Ohio State stop Najee Harris and Devonta Smith in the same play? It is easy to stack the box and stop Najee Harris from running it, but then you've opened up Devonta Smith, the Heisman winner, downfield. If you can run a cover 2 or run man coverage and take Devonta Smith out of the equation, they can still run it with Najee Harris. It is a big problem managing to keep up with this Alabama offense that is so dynamic. And we did see that with Ohio State against Clemson. They were able to keep just going and going and going. But I think the big difference is Alabama has one of the best defenses in college football right now. I think Ohio State still has a great one, but it is not at that same caliber that we saw last year or we've seen in years past. I think they're just missing one or two key pieces, and that is going to be a stacked, dangerous defense like we've seen Ohio State have in the past 5-6 years.
OSU's going to call Kuda back down.
Yeah, OSU ends up having Jeff Okudah at corner and Bosa and Chase Young, these defensive ends that were disruptors, and they just don't seem to have that. And for that reason, I'm going to take Alabama winning this. It is going to be as close can be. I think the game is going to be within 2 points or less, 2 or 1. But Bama just has that little bit extra on them. I think Ohio State is coming into this as an underdog, and that's something that always fuels us. We want to root for the underdog. Ohio State is the underdog. Ohio against the world. This is a situation. This is Rocky. Yeah, you're the underdog, and you did great, but at the end of the day, you still lost. Sorry for spoiling Rocky if anyone hasn't seen it. The movie is almost 40 years old.
Wait, what are you talking about? Rocky loses?
Yeah, Rocky loses in the first one and wins in the second one.
No, stop lying. No, he doesn't.
But
Brandon's just laughing. I just hear his laugh in the background.
Like a schoolgirl there. Jeez. But I'm going to take Alabama winning this. Braxton and Sacco both agreed they took Alabama. They both texted me, their reasoning being Alabama just has that little bit more. It's going to be a super close game, but Bama just has that little bit extra on them that they'll win.
I would just like to say you guys all are traitors, and that's fine. Like, if you want to be a traitor, go right on ahead.
All right.
Aaron, can you say that louder for those dummies across the way?
Oh, sure. They're traitors. Traitors. There we go. Just want to make sure I enunciated it clearly.
All right. So, Erin, I'll let you talk about it. Who you think's going to win and why?
I'm going with the Bucks because I'm loyal.
All right.
And because they're my team, and because if they show up like they did last week, I feel like they're just not going to take their foot off the gas. And as soon as they have that momentum, as soon as they get that lead, it's game over. Because Ohio State thrives off of that. Like, look at the last time they played Alabama. As soon as they got the lead, they never looked back. Like, foot on jugular, like the whole time. So listen, I'd love another 85 yards to the heart of the South moment. Just give me Trey Sermon instead. But I am nervous because Alabama is great. Alabama's a good team. Alabama has a great coach. They have 3 people that are arguably the 3 best individuals in the dog. Sorry.
Oh, that's my dog.
But they have arguably like three of the best individuals in college football, and all at their own positions as well. So that's going to be intense. Nick Saban always, shows up, shows out. I don't know if Ohio State and Alabama have played in the college football playoff in such a high stakes game since Ohio State won last time. I don't know. I think that he's probably still a little salty about that. I imagine he would be. But the thing that's like my number one issue is COVID issues, because the fact that Ohio State said, we want to play, we're going to play, but the Big Ten is trying to petition the college football playoff into waiting another week says that there's a serious issue. And none of it's been announced. So that makes me nervous. But at the same time, I think that Ohio State's already overcome so much this season, like so much more than a lot of other teams have. The fact that they didn't think they were going to get to play at all. And then whenever they did get to play, two of their games got taken away from them because of other teams' issues. Granted, we had our own issues. That's whatever. So then they didn't think that they would get a shot at the Big Ten championship. And then they found out they could. And then they found out people didn't want them there. And then. Like, there were a lot of issues this season. So I think that that's going to bring the team together too. Because if you look at the year that Ohio State won the championship, last time it was another year where they all just came together. One of their players had died that season. Like, one of their brothers had died. They came together, they overcame, and they won together. So I think that might be the difference. I think the heart, I'm not saying Alabama doesn't have heart. I just look at them as more analytical robots, but that's a me thing.
All right.
I'm riding with my Buckeyes every day.
All right, Brady.
All right, I'm also going with Ohio State. Like you said, Alabama has three great targets. They have Mac Jones, they have Najee Harris, and they have Devonta Smith. But you just faced a Clemson team that had Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and that wide receiver that was really good. We shut them all down. So I believe that we can beat them in all three categories. And our offense just plays like our offense. So I think the Bucs can win.
All right, Brandon.
Justin Fields is the best quarterback in college play in the college, especially if you look at last week. When they played Clemson, he was by far the best quarterback in the NCAA. Has he always been like that? No. Look at the Big Ten championship.
Quarterback.
You thought, oh God. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, Justin Fields, when he's on, he is the best quarterback in the NCAA. We got to the Clemson QB and we rushed them like crazy. So to say we don't have pass rushers is just wrong, in my opinion, because I think we really can. We showed we got the Lawrence, and we really disrupted their pass game. I think to go against Ohio State is crazy. So I got to go with the Buckeyes. Like, yeah, Gibby, you're crazy. On top of that, I got to give a shout out. Zachary is currently on his way to Miami.
the game.
I believe they landed there.
Wow.
I believe they landed there a few hours ago in Miami out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's got the inside scoop.
Yeah, funny story is that Ryan Shazier and his family sat right in front of Zachary and his girlfriend on the plane ride to Miami. So that was very
That's
cool.
so
They got
cool.
to sit and chat with Ryan Shazier for a few minutes and his wife, which was just, as Zach said, was just very cool. And it wasn't, Zach knows and Abby knows, yeah, he's famous. Just talk to him. He's a human. Just say hi. And I guess that kind of sparked up the conversation. And they really didn't realize who he was at first. And then they kind of were talking. They're like, oh, shit, it's Ryan Shazier. So I think that's just such a cool caveat there of this whole game. So Zach and Abby will be rooting on Abby's brother. He's an Ohio State player. He's a walk-on. So he'll be there. Their family will be there, which is just so cool to me down in Miami. So I'm pretty jealous.
Yeah.
But I really think the Buckeyes, man, it's hard to go against them. I really think they can pull this one off. I'd love to see it. I'd love being the underdog.
All right.
And for the love of God, last thing here, who scheduled these games for Ohio fans? 2 work nights at 8:30 at night. Come on.
Well,
Really?
Alabama's in our time zone too, right? Like
I
we're
know,
screwed.
and so is
Um,
Pittsburgh. No one from the West Coast besides my older brother Jordan wants to watch, and he can stay up or watch them early for all I care. Some a 4:30 game would be great, or a Saturday night game would have been perfect tonight. All right, I'm done. Buckeye.
All right,
Boys.
and Aaron.
I'm going with the Buckeyes, man. I don't like Bama. I don't like how, you win a couple championships and all of a sudden, you just keep building that name, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, I want to go to Bama. And then you just keep winning because you're not giving any other team a chance to build a team because you're just taking all the prospects.
But
don't
is
like
that
that.
Bama's fault though?
Yeah.
No, it's
Like
not
you
their
can't
fault.
hate them for being good. Like you
Well, I
can,
do. That's the
but-
problem. And I mean, OSU Fields, man. He's gonna take a shot to the rib. I'm calling it. They're gonna try to hit his rib already. I'm saying it right now.
Yeah.
They're gonna hit him in the rib, and he's just gonna keep playing. And they're gonna be like, "What do we do now?" And Fields gonna be like, "I'm off a perk, man. I can't feel anything."
Yeah, they'll give him all the drugs.
I agree with Brandon about pass rushing thing too. It's like you don't have that big name, Chase Young, JJ Watt. You don't have that name.
JJ Watt went
Sure.
to Wisconsin.
Oh shoot.
Bosas,
Which Watt am I
the
thinking?
Bosas.
That's what I'm
Both
thinking
of
of.
the
Bosa.
Bosas. It's okay. All Big Ten people though. All Big
Yeah,
Ten.
all Big Ten. You got the right. You got the
Same
right
thing.
schools.
Same thing. I don't know. But what I'm saying is they don't have that big name. They don't get all that recognition, but they're still there.
Yeah.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence, I remember watching that game. It was only last week. T-Law was getting rushed left and right. I mean, it's there. Do I think that Alabama's O-line is better? Yeah. Are they going to be able to hold it off better? Yeah. But it's still going to be there. And
Is
that's
it
why I'm saying the Bucs
possible
are going to win.
Trevor Lawrence tanked that game so he would be on a better team as quarterback, so Jacksonville wouldn't look at him? Yes.
Jacksonville's still taking him.
Jacksonville's still going to take him. It wasn't enough, man. You gotta start taking a dump earlier than that.
Also, just throwing that out.
I swear to God.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Go Aaron. Go Aaron. Go Aaron.
Aaron. you
Oh,
go
I was
first.
just gonna say, like, if you look at the film, I'm just saying, like, we had people on Trevor Lawrence all game, and they were being held like no other. Like, if you look at the last 3 games, Tariq Smith, he's the number 11. He's a defensive end. Boy, every week on Twitter, he goes after it and posts pictures of him being held and said the refs didn't see it. And it's all game long. It's all game long. So, like, I'm just saying, watch that. Keep your eye out for that, because I know 3 different times I saw holding and no one called it, and it was the most obvious thing in the world. So,
All right.
that's all.
Brandon.
No, what I was gonna say, Andrew, dude, I love you to death. You're a brother to me. But man, please never, ever, ever say that someone like that would try to tank a college football playoff semifinal game. That is just crazy to think, or to, like, not even. I don't think you really accused him to bring that up.
I'm just saying, like, man.
Yeah, please.
maybe
Oh
be like,
gosh.
oh wait, if I do bad, I can go to a good team like New England.
That
think that's
would
exactly
tear
what he did.
my heart out as a sports fanatic to
Yeah.
hear someone like if that were to ever be true. Oh my goodness! I could never respect that person as a player.
They're also
as
not
a
a true
sports
competitor, so they
athlete.
would never be able to do
No.
well.
Yeah,
in
you could never go to
professional
the same
sports,
level at
where
that
your job
point.
is competitive all day.
No. Like, I just couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, I don't ever believe that there's anybody at that level, at such a high level, that would tank intentionally to just kind of like, oh, I'll hurt my job sucks, so I go to a better team, because teams will notice that and 100% will look at you and go, why'd you tank? Well, so I go to you. We want a guy that's going to commit to whatever team he's at. That there's no scouts to be like, who cares he tanked that last game? He's still pretty good in all the other ones. The moment he wants out of that city, he's going to start tanking again. So yeah, I don't think any self-respecting quarterback would do it. I'm just saying it's one of those situations where it's kind of like, man, Trevor Lawrence is kind of on the end of, hey, if you don't go to Jacksonville, which is not a great situation, you're going to the Jets, which is somehow an even worse situation.
But like, as a competitor and an athlete, Wouldn't you want to go to a situation where you could be the man and turn the team around?
And we did see that with Baker. He did say, if anybody's going to fix what is going on in Cleveland, it's going to be me. And I think that was a great sign. And I think a lot of guys do kind of see it as, especially if you're going to Jacksonville, they're already really good. You just get to be that final piece, and you get a lot of the credit for it. And everyone wants to be that guy that turns around an organization. But I do think there are some situations. For years, there's always a stigma. If you're a player and you get drafted by the Browns, your career is over. Don't even think about it. There's no use. And it was horrible. It was, guys didn't want to come to Cleveland because it was seen as the graveyard of the NFL.
Or Johnny Manziel. He wasn't all too bad, and then he went to the Browns, and
yeah.
Like, here's my thing too. I mean, just think about this though. You know, if we have kids or our grandkids or our great grandkids, you know who we're gonna freaking talk about? It's Kevin Stefanski, Baker Mayfield, you know, Jarvis Landry coming in and turning around the Browns. Like, I think that's such, you know, that's something that those guys want to be remembered as, is those guys that turned around the Browns. We don't remember there's 25 quarterbacks in between, but, you know, sure the heck, we remember, you know, Jim Brown or Bernie Kosar, some of those greats we've had. You know, the LeBron Jameses, you know, those big names that really made Cleveland consistent and competitive.
Yeah.
So that makes me so happy even thinking about that.
All right. I think that's all we have for the show this week. Remember, give us a follow and subscribe on YouTube or on Twitter. Give us a like. Give us a comment on some of your thoughts on these games that are coming up. Anything that we might want to talk about between that gap between the Super Bowl and March Madness, where there's not a whole lot of sports going on. If you want to give us any suggestions, we appreciate it. Everything you guys do helps us out so much, between sharing it on Facebook and Twitter, anything like that. It just helps us. It lets us know we're doing a good job at what we're doing. Big shout out to Josh Page making our intro and outro music. I know we don't usually call him out directly and leave it for the credits, but he has been somebody that's been supporting us for a long time, made us the intro and outro music for free, just let us use it because he saw potential in it. And everyone that shares this, that watches, that tells us we're doing a good job, we appreciate you guys so much. And right now, sports is almost an escape from what's going on in the world right now. And we want to be that for you guys. We want to be that source you can go to when the world is looking dark and everything looks bad, and just follow us and join in for an hour and a half and just get to laugh and not think about it. And, you know, life seemed like it's still normal right now because with COVID and everything going on with politics, sports seems to be the one thing we can count on that is, for the most part, non-political. It's just two guys, two teams playing it out, and you're just rooting for your team for the sake of history's sake. It's not because this person's a Democrat or a Republican or this person believes this and this. It's just your love of the team and all of that. So we want to be there for you guys. Try and stay as apolitical as possible. Keep that out of it. We're just here to talk about sports and everything around it. And we appreciate everything. So that's all we have for this week. I know.
Hey, and remember, go Browns and OH.
IO, baby, all day,
Also,
every day.
One final remark. Remember, in the coming weeks, you will start to see a podcast from Aaron Polsey, Reality Check, where she will be talking about The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Love Island, Big Brother, all sorts of those reality TV shows.
My guilty pleasures.
Yeah, we're going to see Flagrant Fouls with Brady Gibb, where he'll be talking about the NBA and all the stuff around that. You will get to see Mass Debaters with John Succa, where he will have a guest on and a moderator, and they'll be discussing things such as who is the GOAT in the NBA, things like that. It'll be really interesting. And finally, you'll have my show, Friendly Rivalries with Andrew Gibb. I'll just be doing one-on-one interviews with, obviously, my co-host on this show and different guests we've had and other people in our community, that how sports have affected their lives and things like that. But remember, that'll be coming in the coming weeks. Give it a follow. If you're watching this, whenever you're watching it, share it. Maybe it's something you use whenever you're at work and just want to kill time and listen to us talk. I know all of those other shows are going to be available, hopefully, on Apple's podcast app, on Spotify, and it'll still have a video version on YouTube. This show will stay exclusive to YouTube. We know you guys love seeing our faces. And also in the coming weeks, the show is going to be added in as a live option on either Twitch or YouTube Live. But thank everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you guys so much. Enjoy watching this football over the next couple of days.